Pit here, and welcome to chapter 4 of Fandom Crisis. I'm like really I love this fan fiction that I'm reading. Okay, chapter 4. The first shot fired. The robot circled overhead, crackling haughtily. She positioned herself so that the maximum amount of sunlight reflected off her blue and white armor plating. She wanted the pathetic organics below to admire her beauty before she smote them. Smote. Okay, whatever. What in Solaris's good green Equestria is that? Elusive asked in a panic. It's a Cybertronian, the doctor answered. A what? Twilight asked. A Cybertronian, a sort of living machine that likes to disguise itself as other machines. Fools. So it's like a. Never mind. Fools, shouted the mechanoid. You you chatter amongst yourself in the presence of your doom. You should be on your knees, begging for mercy from the most beautiful and talented Slipstream. That name is just okay. The twin cannons on her arm began to glow purple. Taste the might of my null rays and perish organic scum. Two bright bolts of energy struck down at the little group of ponies. Look out, Dusk warned, but it was too late. The beams hit and there was a blinding flash. Then nothing happened. Dusk checked himself over. He felt perfectly fine. Did that do anything? Everything seemed okay, Butterscotch answered. Null rays, null rays, null rays, the doctor mumbled and thought. In realization hit, he reached into his pocket and grabbed his sonic screwdriver. He vainly tried to activate the little metal cylinder. How can you vainly? Okay. Blast, she shorted out my sonic screwdriver. Hey, that's kind of tongue twistery, Barry exclaimed. She shorted out my sonic screwdriver. She shorted out my sonic screwdriver. She shorted out my sonic. Oh, I didn't even make it to 3. What? Slipstream wailed. My null rays have no effect. Impossible. I will rain down my fury upon you. You will fear this name Slipstream. Well, this is getting annoying. Ponies with horns, if you would kindly bring her down, requested the doctor. Nix's, Twilight's dusk, and Elusive's horns all started to glow and sparkle with energy. Dinky tried, but she couldn't get hers to do the same. Oh, it's adorable. Hey, what are you doing? Slipstream asked. Rays of colors Rays of color streamed from the pony's horns. They shot up and wrapped themselves around Slipstream's arms and legs, binding them together. She felt herself being pulled downward. Stop it. You can't do this. I am Slipstream. I'm a ranking officer in the Deception Battle Fleet. You'll pay for this. The alien machine landed with a crash. She was totally immobilized in magical energy. Dinky strained and grunted. Finally, her horn lit up dimly. She put all she could into that attack spell. A little spark sputtered out and fell to the ground. Yeah, take that, she shouted weakly. Derpy put a reassuring wing on Dinky's shoulder. The doctor strode up to the captured transformer. Ba weep, Gronag, weep, Nini, bong, he said sarcastically. Her red eyes glowered, glowered back at him. What? Don't care for the universal greeting? Tell me, are you native to this version of reality? Because in my corner of the time stream, your kinda is pretty darn extinct. The doctor said, you don't scare me, Time Lord. I'll go offline before I tell you anything. Well, you've already told me you know what species I am, and you're obviously covering for someone else, so I know someone set you here to attack us. So I ask you again, where are you from and who sent you? What do you want, Lauren? No. Who? Okay. Slipstream frowned. She was dealing with a smart one. She would need to choose her words carefully. She happened to glance up and see a small dot disappear into the clouds. She smiled wickedly. Well, Time Lord, all I have to say is that I was hired because I'm a stage magician by trade. Magician. My specialties are misdirected and distracted. And I am recording. All right. Speaking of distraction, suddenly an explosion burst behind the group, raining charred bits of earth on the ponies. The doctor swirled around only to get thrown by a second explosion only yards away from him. He felt bruised and scratched on the ground. He didn't move. Derpy screamed and ran to him. Watch it, Slipstream shouted. I just got a fresh coat of paint. She felt the grips on her loosen. The ponies, too confused to focus on her, she took advantage of the opportunity, transforming back into her jet form and rocketing into the sky. Explosions erupted, sorry, all around the ponies. Twilight held Nyx tightly. Where's it coming from? She and Dusk shouted simultaneously. Butterscotch started to cry. It can't end like this. Who will take care of the animals if I die? Oh, you're not gonna die, Barry said cheerfully. There's no way whatever's causing those explosions can pop one of Dusk's shields. Everything is gonna turn out okie dokie. Butterscotch looked up to see that he and his friends were surrounded in a violet aura of magic. The lavender unicorns were indeed shielding them from the flames. Dinky looked at her father's limp form. Mom, is he? He's breathing, Derpy answered. But some of these cuts and burns look pretty bad. We'll need to get to him. We'll need to get him to the hospital. Wow. The blast kept coming. The sound was deafening, and they could still feel the heat through the shield. Ugh, this is dreadful, Elusive complained. Dusk, can't you wink us out of here? I can try, but Twilight, can you hold the shield by yourself? No problem, Twilight responded. The explosions came faster. Derpy was able to see they were caused by missiles fired from above. But she couldn't find the source. Slipstream joined the attack from high in the sky with a complement of lasers, although she made sure to keep her distance. Twilight saw a missile impact into the ground just inches from the edge of the shield. He watched and waited, but didn't detonate. Then it started spinning around, drilling itself into the earth. That can't be good, the orange pony thought. Everyone joined hooves, Dusk said. They all obeyed. Derpy and Dinky reached down and gingerly touched the doctor's hoof. Suddenly, the missile resurfaced inside of the shield. Dusk, Elusive shouted. From above, Slipstream chuckled as she saw the purple bubble disappear in a flash of fire and smoke. Oopsies. 11 magenta flashes appeared into the kitchen of Sugar Cube Corner as the ponies were transported into the room. They all stumbled around trying to regain their bearings. Dusk popped his neck and stretched his legs. Whew, sorry, every pony. I'm not good with mass teleports. Twilight embraced Nyx and squeezed till the filly could barely breathe. Nyx, are you all right? I'm okay, Twilight, Nyx gasped. She managed to peel away and give her mother a reassuring grin. Could you have cut that any closer, Dusk? I swear my eyebrows got a little singed, Applejack complained. Butterscotch started to cry. Oh, Solaris, that was so scary. Elusive, I think, okay, yeah, that's the male version of Fluttershy, I think. Elusive put a comforting front leg around the Pegasus' neck. There, man, we're safe for now. What on earth is going on? These folks are from another reality, and now a metal giant is trying to kill us, Applejack explained. Well, I suppose that makes about as much sense as anything, Elusive sighed. Butterscotch, right? Derpy asked, motioning towards the sniffling pony. If you're anything like the yellow Pegasus where I'm from, then you're good with treating injuries, right? Butterscotch gave a little nod. Then could you please help me treat my husband's burns? Oh, let me help, Barry blurted out. Come on, Butter Buddy. I'll show you where we keep the first aid kit. Before he could say anything, the party pony had grabbed Butterscotch by the hoof and rushed him out of the room. Mom, Dad still hasn't woken up, Dinky worried. He thought he got thrown by an explosion. The force might have caused some internal damage. All I can do is treat the cuts and burns until we can send for a proper medical help. Wow, Herbie explained. Dinky looked into her mother's eyes. She had a serious look on her face. Dinky only saw the serious look when things were really bad. Derpy had only explained the facts. She hadn't offered any kind reassurances or hopeful promises. When Dinky realized the gravity of the situation, it crushed the little unicorn's heart. She glumly walked over to the Nix, who gave her a gentle hug. The fires raged outside, casting the kitchen in an orange glow. Rainbow Blitz looked out the window and frowned. Hey, where is every pony? What do you mean, bud? Applejack asked. Well, a giant flying metal monster just blew a crater in the middle of town. Where's all the screaming and running crowds? The farm stallion put his hoof to his chin. Maybe they're hiding, I think. Holy. At this moment, the house across the street shattered into splinters. Through the smoke, they saw a shadow of Slipstream stomping wildly at the ground. I think she's looking for us, Blitz whispered. Another crash shook the building. Ag, what do we do? Okay, Dusk began. But he found himself interrupted by Twilight. We need to split up and distract it. We know we can handle the robot, but I'm worried about whatever it was that had the missiles. Rainbow Blitz, do you think you can catch that thing? Don't make me laugh. Nothing's faster than me, Blitz replied with a cocky grin. Good. Can you catch that thing without getting blown up? Well, now, that's the fun part. At the moment, Butterscotch and Bubbleberry returned with a white medical box. Way to go, Asher. Here you go, Barry chimed. Twilight took the box and handed it to Derpy. Okay, kids, stay here with Derpy and the doctor. Butterscotch and Applejack, come with me out front. Bubbleberry and Elusive, go with Duskshine out the back. Blitz, go up out the stairs. Go up out the upstairs window and try to take out Mr. Missiles. When I say run, we run. Another thunderous crash caused the pots and pans in the kitchen to clang and clatter together. Run! The ponies scrambled out of Sugar Cube Corner. Slipstream turned from the house she had just wrecked to see Duskshine's group scurry down the street. She laughed devilishly and gave chase. Barry's ears perked up as he heard the metal stomping behind him. He glanced back and yelped, Here she comes! He galloped away as fast as he could. You have a plan, right? Elusive asked the lavender unicorn beside him. I have a few ideas, Dust reassured him. Blitz tore into the sky. As if on cue, a tiny black dot appeared above him, right before disappearing into a cloud bank. There you are. The Scion... Scion? Stallion ascended higher till he was level with the UFO. He swooped into the yellow and orange sunset cloud. The world went dark, wet and cold as Blitz accelerated deeper and deeper into the cloud bank. He could just make out what looked like another Pegasus in front of him before it veered out of his vision. Suddenly everything was washed in color. Something slammed into Blitz's side, knocking the wind out of him and sending him tumbling through the air. A thunderous boom ripped through the heavens. Every pony on the ground stopped and looked in awe at the spectacle above. Twilight gasped. A sonic rain boom, Elusive stuttered. Blitz landed hard with a splash into a pool of brown muck. He desperately wiped gunk from his eyes and tried to get a view of his surroundings, to try and find what had hit him. He was in a clearing in the middle of a forest. The last rays of sun cast long skeletal shadows across the swampy ground. The trees appeared to have monstrous faces, ready to chomp at his neck. He had landed in Froggy Bottom Bog. He checked himself over. His side hurt like mad, and a nasty purple welt was already growing, but he didn't think anything was broken. He was fortunate to have landed in the mire. Mud makes a great impact cushion. He breathed deeply and relaxed his muscles to float to the top of the swamp. This wasn't the first time he had crashed here, and if he could get to solid ground before whatever had attacked him came back, it hopefully wouldn't be the last time. He caught hold of some reeds and pulled himself into the shore. He laid panting for a moment, then shook the mud from his fur. He got up to his hooves just as horrible screeching sound boomed through the forest. The silhouette of a Pegasus zoomed past overhead. There was something wrong with its wings, though. Two cylinders were attached to foils on its back. Rockets. That pony had rockets instead of wings. With a metallic clank, the mare landed just a meter in front of Blitz. He gasped at the sight in front of him. A mare who was practically identical to him, stood there with a wicked grin. A metal plate covered her right eye and tapered down her cheek, covering almost half of her face. "Hey there, handsome. Long time no see," the mysterious multicolor-maned mare said menacingly. "I've been looking forward to this for a very long time." Blitz just stood there bewildered. What are you? Are you me? What are you? Are you me?" The mare sneered back. "You sound like a jerk." "Why are you doing this?" "Oh, you want to know? 'Cause the answer is easy. I'm Bad Dash, and you're Good Dash. You're a goody little four shoes." Oh, wait, what? The strange doppelganger started doing a silly little dance and singing. "Goody little four shoes, goody little four shoes." Then she socked him right in the jaw. He staggered back only to take a kick to the shins. All the while, Rainbow Dash kept up her song and dance. I never liked Rainbow Dash at all. Blitz fell to the ground. Dash smiled, the last rays of sun reflecting red off her face plate. "Blitz," muttered the muddied and bruised Pegasus. "What?" "My name is Rainbow Blitz," the stallion shouted as he whirled around and reared up. He bucked with all his might, sending the malicious pony careening out into the woods beyond. He chuckled weakly as he rubbed blood from his jaw. Suddenly, a report of rat-a-tat-tat rang out. As bullets whizzed past Blitz's head, he scrambled for cover behind a rock. Dash emerged from the woods, smoking machine guns attached to both of her flanks. What? She turned, and Blitz was horrified to see that half her body, from just behind her shoulders down to her rear hooves, was made of metal. She was mostly machine. Dash Blitz, I'm the girl with the gun," she said smugly. She hovered in the air and took aim right between Blitz's eyes. Now this is the part I like, the look in their eyes right before they're killed by another version of themselves. "But from you especially. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this. I just want to thank you first. You made me so much better than I was." Wow. Just as she was about to fire, her communicator buzzed in her ears. Blitz stared up at her befuddled as she started talking to the air. "Go ahead, what's your status? Calm down. I can't. What?" "Well, continue with the mission. Kill the black one and capture the purple one." "What do you mean they captured you again? Stop crying. Hold on." I'll be right there. Lousy heap of garbage. No one can do anything right today. Rainbow Dash cursed into the air. First, the tall guy couldn't capture the unicorn, and now the robot couldn't take care of a little filly. Dash gritted her teeth, her guns folded back inside her body. She was out of missiles, so she needed to save her bullets to deal with the unicorns. Well, good looking, payback's gonna have to wait, she said, irritated. She blasted off into the sky, saying some words. I, the author, am not comfortable relaying here. Oh, Asher. Night fell over forest. Blitz sat stunned in the mud. He couldn't begin to explain what had just happened, but he had to get back to his friends. First things first, though, he had to get the mud off his wings. He couldn't get airborne with all the gunk weighing him down. He sat, bloodied and bruised, in the cold, scraping brown mess from his feathers. Oh, that's terrible. Barry, Barry stepped out of the kitchen with a plate of freshly baked apple mini pies. Here you go, girls, another round of treats. Thanks, Mr. Barry. Nix and Dinky chimed. They sat by the window watching the grown-ups. Oh, the grown-ups, okay. Interrogates. I don't know why that looked weird to me. The grown-ups interrogate Slipstream. The alicorn filly stuffed one of the treats into her mouth, then instantly found out the value of letting things cool after they've left an oven. Dinky just half interestedly pushed the pastries around, while Nix desperately tried to dislodge the treacherous pie. Well, it looks like it's my turn to be scared today, Dinky sighed. I'm really sorry, Dinky. I hope your dad will be okay. I know I won't lose him. It's just Dad always told me that if he was about to die, his body would go through this change. His face, body, and even his personality would be all different. He might not even be a pony anymore. And I know he would be fine. The doctor would still be alive, but my daddy, he'd be gone. Dinky couldn't take it anymore. Her head sank to the table and she broke down sobbing. Nix ran around the table and put her hoof on Dinky's shoulder. Dinky, Dad's waking up, Derpy called from the other room. Dinky's face lit up. The pure joy in her eyes made Nix giggle. The blonde unicorn bounded into the kitchen. She wanted to wrap her front legs around her father's neck and squeeze as hard as she could, but Derpy held her back. He could still be hurt, she explained. The doctor let out a hoarse whisper. Mother and daughter leaned in closer to make out his words. Bag, mumbled the Time Lord. Bag? Oh, the bag that Pinkie Pie gave him. All the craziness today, I forgot about it, Dinky said. She rushed back to the table and grabbed the blue bag. She galloped back to her family and opened the sack. It's filled with a bag of cookies. She emptied the bag and checked it over twice. All that had been inside were a plastic bag filled with 11 chocolate chip cookies and a note reading, one for every pony. The doctor wheezed and coughed. Eat your cookie, he whispered. Give one to everybody. It's a big sacrifice, but I'll do it for you. The family ate their cookies, then Dinky took a bag and ran out the door. Nix yawned. Twilight and the boy, versions of her friends, were still arguing with the robot. Dinky had gone back to her mom and dad in the kitchen. That left her alone, with a nearly empty pie plate. The stars were shining bright, and it was past her bedtime. She wondered where she would sleep at tonight, since she doubted they would fix her problems anytime soon. Maybe the boy Twilight would let them sleep in his library, or her eyes got heavier. Looked like she would be sleeping there on the table. She just hoped she wouldn't have the nightmare. The night lit up and a horrendous popping sounded out. Nix bolted straight up and looked out. The unicorns had erected another force field. Sparks erected. Sparks flickered around it and chewed up the ground. The form of the metal giant rose up behind the glowing bubble. Without hesitation, the alicorn galloped to the door. Twilight would yell at her for heading into such a dangerous situation, but she knew she could help. She tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. Against she pushed against it with her magic, but got the same result. What's going on? Nyx recoiled as a strip of what looked like blood started oozing from the top of the door. She watched in astonishment as her own shadow grew to meet the dark red liquid. Her amazement turned to unbridled terror as the shadow stepped off the wall towards her. Its head turned a deathly gray, and the blood had become its tie. So at last we meet in the waking realm of Nightis. It didn't speak, but it still formed words. It was as if it made space itself know its thoughts. It communicated by forcing its will through the air and the wood in the building and through Nyx's bones. The effect was like nails on a chalkboard times 100. Nyx had never felt fear like she did that moment. She felt a force in her muscles. She couldn't move. She could barely breathe. Pressure grew in her head, and her nose and ears started to bleed. It will weep for the child. The monster raised its hoof above the filly to strike. Nyx couldn't run. She couldn't use her magic. Tears welled in her eyes as she tried to get her mouth to work. No, you will be nowhere. Twilight, Nyx screamed with all she had. Twilight's ears perked up. She dashed out from the shield towards the bakery. Twilight, wait, Dusk shouted. Bullets whizzed by her. She felt a pain like a bee sting on her flank. Had she been hit? It didn't matter. She just had to get to her daughter. She busted down the door. All she saw was Nyx standing there, blood running down her face. Instinctively, she cast her most powerful protection and healing spells over her. Nyx felt a force on her body lift. Her horn glowed white hot, and she blasted the horror with her most powerful attack. The monster stumbled back and fell over. It writhed on the ground, its legs flailing in the air. It reminded Nyx of the time she saw a spider get wet. Ooh. Nyx, what's wrong? What happened? Twilight asked in panic. It's the monster from the dream. He's here. Okay, where did he go? What do you mean? He's right behind you. Twilight looked around. I don't see anything. She grabbed a napkin from the counter with the magic and started wiping off blood off of Nyx's face. Nyx pushed the paper away. What are you doing? He's getting up. Help me fight him off. Chunks of wood and dust fell as something burst from the ceiling. Twilight and Nyx looked up. A half-flesh, half-metal, light blue mockery of nature hovered above them. Twilight's mouth hung open. Rainbow Dash? The cyborg Pegasus laughed. Haha, I get that reaction. Well, if it isn't Miss Know-It-All and the little crybaby. She landed and two machine gun barrels unfolded from her sides. Grab her, Mr. Tall. A black mist swirled around Twilight's neck. Hey, what's happening? She shouted. The faceless terror loomed over the unicorn. Dr. Nyx, help. The doctor engulfed darkness. Wow! The darkness engulfed her. And then both she and the monster disappeared into a shadow in the corner. Twilight, Nyx screamed. Rainbow Dash chuckled. You got your own problems, Squirt. Her targeting systems locked on the black alicorn. Say goodnight, sweetie. With a crack, a mallet slammed into the back of Rainbow's head, sending her sprawling on the floor. Good night, sweetie, Dinky smirked. She whirled her giant hammer around for a second strike. Mallets are fun. Screw this, Rust Bucket, we're leaving, Dash declared. She blasted off through the hole in the ceiling. A blue and white Harrier jet joined her in the sky. A green hole appeared in the clouds, and they vanished into it. Then all that was left in the sky were stars. Sorry, I couldn't come sooner. The door wouldn't. Whoa, what happened to your face? Dinky exclaimed. Nix ignored her. She fell to the ground and started to cry. What in tarnation's going on here? Applejack asked. He and the others galloped into the room. Where's Twilight? Dusk asked. Twilight stood up and set her jaw firm. Crying wouldn't help her mommy right now. She marched into the kitchen. The doctor was still laying on the floor. Derpy was applying some kind of ointment on his burns. Nix, what's happening out there? Dick Derpy asked. Nix pushed her aside. He kidnapped Twilight, and they disappeared into the thin air. Help me get her back, Nix demanded from the Time Lord. Oh, okay, the doctor gurgled. What do you need? The sensors on the TARDIS. They might be able to pick up an energy signature. Nix didn't let him finish. She stomped her hoof on the ground, and then she and the time pony vanished in a flash. Nix, wait, Derpy yelled. Rainbow Blitz ran through the door. Okay, I'm back, he panted. Where are they? There's another for me. There's another me. He found a chocolate chip cookie shoved into his mouth. Yeah, you just missed them, Dinky answered. What's with the cookie? I have no idea. It's really important, apparently. Nix and the doctor reappeared right in front of the TARDIS. The filly tried to open the door, but she couldn't quite reach the handle. She jumped for it, but missed. Help me, doctor. There might not be much time, Nix cried frantically. She could have just used her magic. But her emotions were overriding her thought process. Painfully and shakily, the Time Lord got to his feet. He nearly stumbled, but Nix held him up. He pulled out his key and opened the door. He slowly made his way to the controls, Nix doing her best to support him. Finally, they made it to the center of the room. The doctor stood up on his hind legs, let out a cry of pain, and fell onto console. Onto console. Okay, not onto the... whatever. Nix gasped, Are you okay? I'm fine. I think I can work the sensors from here. The doctor groaned. He reached over and flipped a few switches. The monitor moved above him, flickered to life, and weird symbols began displaying across it. Could you tell me what the screen says? There were a bunch of circles. I can't make out. Wait, it says spatial disturbance detected. Tracking particle emissions. Spatial. Haha, that's... The doctor started, but then started coughing and hacking. Finally, he regained his breath. Right, sorry, anyways, we have a lock on your mother. Sounds like your mama joke. Nix sighed in relief. They weren't out of the woods yet, but at least she knew Twilight wasn't lost. The doctor turned some knobs and pressed a big green button. There, I set an anchor point for this timeline. Now let's go save us a unicorn. Nix, if you would pull the big lever... the alicorn's horn lit up and a big lever came down. The gears inside the glass column began to turn, and the time machine's engines roared to life. Nix watched as the mechanism in the cylinder rose and fell. She thought she saw something in the reflection in the glass. Then her blood ran cold. She saw the image of the faceless monster behind her. She whirled around, but there was nothing there. Is something wrong? You look terrified. I see the monster that took Twilight. Where? The doctor asked, his voice stone serious. In the reflection, Nix answered, pointing at the column. Suddenly, the shadowy creature burst forth from the glass. Nix screamed as the monster wrapped its hooves around the doctor's neck. Die, Time Lord. The sparks flew from the control console. A blinding light filled the room. Bubbleberry looked out the window. Hey, what's that? What's what? Applejack asked. There's some kind of light outside. All the ponies in Sugar Cube Corner crowded around the window. There was a white light coming from the center of town. My, what a dazzling display! High wave. Elusive said, I think it's coming from the TARDIS, Dinky exclaimed. Dusk frowned. Something seems bad about this. The, the light tripled in intensity. Suddenly, the ground started to shake. Derpy hugged Dinky and held tight. Butterscotch screamed. The light continued to grow. The world was engulfed in a blinding white. Prince Solaris roared through the midnight sky. A full complement of Pegasus guards followed in his wake. Reports had been pouring in about an attack on Ponyville. The prince gritted his teeth. He prayed he wasn't too late. The little town appeared on the horizon. Onwards and prepare yourselves. We are almost there, announced Solaris. Just then an overwhelming explosion burst from the little town. Solaris doubled his speed until he reached the city's limit. He was shocked by what he saw. An empty brown waste lay below him. There weren't any buildings, trees, or grass. Not a single sign of life was left. Ponyville was gone. Oh my God, what a way to end a chapter. Um, Thoughts. Um, it's okay. It gets boring at times, but it's fun to read. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Please please subscribe. Wow. Um and follow me on Tumblr. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and I will have chapter 5 up sometime when I'm not absolutely busy with not doing anything and just being lazy. Um Thank you, Asher, for letting me read this. I never really think about thanking you for actually letting me do this, but thank you and Godspeed.